Rob Parker, who you trashing?
I'm going to save it because it actually has to do with the next topic.
Oh, wow.
Booger McFarland.
Okay.
I'm trashing Booger. I got a boogie in my nose, and I'm going to take care of it.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
That's a little too much.
TMI? Yeah, I'm sorry.
But let me set the tone, and then you can go off. But Florida State, for those really paying attention to college football,
talk about a stinker out of the box.
Rob, they were ranked number 10 in the preseason polls. They're expected to make the college football playoff. Obviously, there are 12 teams that make it. They were number 10. And instead, they have gone out and lost their first 2 games to Georgia Tech, who they were 10.5-point favorites over, and Boston College, who they were 16.5-point favorites over, even after losing to Georgia Tech.
And Doug Flutie didn't even play, Chris. So, how in the world did they lose to Boston College?
Well, and they, remember, this was supposed to be a big year for them because at quarterback, they've got the guy that at one time was the heir apparent to Trevor Lawrence down at Clemson. And you remember, I remember even seeing him at Clemson, DJ Uiagalelei. I'm probably destroying his name, but DJ Uiagalelei. Everybody calls him DJU. But Rob, has been bad. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Booger McFarland, after the game, tweeted. Booger McFarland, of course, works for ESPN, former player in the league. He tweeted that, I'm just going to read it. If you are a coach and you handpick a portal quarterback and he struggles bad, what do you do? He doesn't have enough equity with his teammates to leave him in, but you can't pull him most likely because of the NIL, etc. What do you do? And Rob, this is DJU's first year there in Florida State, and he was paid, the estimates are around between $600,000-$700,000 between 3 deals that the Seminoles got him with the name, image, likeness. So he's making reportedly around $600,000-$700,000 through the NIL. So Booger's point is, look, you're paying this dude, the collective through the alumni put this deal together to get this guy to Florida State. How do you bench him when you're paying him this much money? That's basically what he's saying. So what's your take on this?
I don't think it has anything to do with money. I would just think this is a way to add this in. And it sounds like a former player who might be don't like the idea, Chris, that the kids are getting paid. So let's point to him struggling and the whole idea of money. People have struggled in college and been replaced. Chris, was Jalen Hurts replaced?
Yeah, but that was before NIL.
No, but I'm just saying, but he still got, my point is that it doesn't matter whether there's money on the table or not. And the idea that you really think that these other kids before didn't get paid under the table or we didn't know about it?
Yeah, but okay, that's a little different.
I'm just saying, but they were getting money, Chris, and he's having a bad start to the career. I'm just saying it's not based on the portal or the NIL money or anything. This is what happens in sports. There are people that it just doesn't pan out. It has nothing to do with the money or the idea of him moving on or going somewhere else. Is my point, is that this has happened before where guys just don't work out or things don't work out. And if we want to talk about money, how many times have we seen free agents go somewhere, Chris, right, with a new team, right, and sign a deal, and it doesn't work out, and they don't play well? My point is that it has nothing to do with if this was the old system and there was no money involved or no portal or whatever, he transferred. Before, you had to sit out a year, right? That was the only difference.
Right.
You were penalized. Now you get to go right away, which is fair because coaches never had to sit out. Coaches were allowed to go right away. So I don't have any issue with it. I don't know why. So was Caleb Williams at USC, who got $1 gazillion and was on every national TV commercial, that didn't affect him. Nobody brought up his money. Why? Because they played well. I don't know where the money comes in.
I feel like you're seeing it differently than Booger
maybe
meant
help
it, in
me
my
out.
opinion.
Okay,
Because I think it sounds to me like you're saying that you think Booker is saying, I should say, that DJU is not playing well because of the pressure of making this money or whatever. And what Booger is saying is that because DJ is getting paid so much, the coach is hesitant to take him out. And to your point with the NFL or even the NBA, when money is involved, Rob, you know this, like there are business decisions made. And if a team goes out and signs a free agent for a ton of money, they kind of got to play him. Now, if you're just terrible, at some point you end up probably putting him on the bench or cutting him or trading him or whatever. But when a guy is making a boatload of money, and this is in college terms, then there is a pressure to play him. So I feel like you're looking at it like the money is negatively impacting DJU's playing. But I think what Booger is saying is no, because he's getting so much money, the coach feels like he has to play him.
Did that stop Russell Wilson from being benched last year and the
Well,
Denver?
he wasn't. He played, and then they cut him. They have ultimately cut him.
Okay,
but
they took one of the biggest. They took one of the biggest hits against the salary cap in the history of the NFL because they decided that they didn't care. They were going to move on. And my thing is I don't think if a guy plays poorly, Chris, it doesn't matter. The school didn't pay the money. The school didn't even pay the money. This is from boosters. How?
Right, the schools put together the collectives.
No, but
right, and they're boosters of the school, and then they put. It's very similar to Rob to what it used to be like. It's just over the
right.
Overboard or over the table rather than under the table.
Right. Like we're just saying we don't know what the money was, Chris. It probably as large as it is now. But people were getting paid. That's like this whole notion.
That I agree with your point in that point in that, yeah, God, like even let's say Jalen Hurts, you brought up that example.
You didn't think right.
If he was getting, and I don't know if he was, his
but
dad's
you know
a coach,
what I'm saying, right?
He was one of those guys that didn't take the money. But let's say he was getting $300,000. Would they have benched him? You're right. He's still getting paid in that situation. Maybe two at that point wasn't. But I think Booger makes and I don't know the answer, Rob.
Okay,
I don't know
if
that's stopping the coaches or if they think about that. But I can see how it would. I can see how. Look, we spent $600,000 to get this guy here, and he's not getting it done. I mean, I think at some point you would bench him several games into the season or whatever. But I do see the pressure of, hey, we did bring this guy in. We're paying him. We got to play him. The guy behind him is not making anything. And again, I don't know how they're doing it there at Florida State, but I do see how that can become a part of the equation and make some tough decisions for some coaches. And I agree with the kids getting paid, but I'm just saying, I see what Booger's saying. He wasn't saying, he was just throwing it out there like, what do you do? He is kind of throwing it out as a question himself. Does the coach feel pressure to have to play this guy?
Yeah, but the idea of, Chris, that like this is new is where I'm pushing back. I don't believe it's new. I think boosters have put money together in the past for players, and we just don't know the money, Chris. I mean, we didn't know the money, so you don't have that conversation on whether or not somebody should be benched or not, or replaced or whatever. Guys have been replaced, big time players, and Jalen Hurts is a great example of that. And he went on to do well and get to the NFL and go to the Super Bowl and all that. So my only point is, it sounds to me like, oh, see, you open up a can of worms by paying these kids. Now look, now what are you going to do and all this other stuff. I don't think that the money part of it, if a guy it doesn't play well, Chris, regardless of money or what money was put in to lure him there or whatever, you're not going to throw your whole season away and play a guy who's played poorly. I don't believe money is going to be a factor ultimately if he's playing that poorly. I just don't. I don't think anybody. There's a lot of other people at stake. The coach's job, the athletic director, Chris, all the other coaches, all the players. There's a lot of people involved that you got to sit there and play a guy because he got some money and he's playing terrible. I just don't think so.
I will say this, and I don't know, maybe some situations it will be a factor, others it won't. What I will say is this, it shouldn't.
Okay.
If you're a head coach, and let's say we paid $1 million to get this guy, and he's just not getting it done, you still have to make the right call.
Right.
And you probably need to, honestly, you need to let the boosters know going in, look, you guys are helping us out. It's great. We think this guy's going to be fantastic, but I'm going to coach him. And if he doesn't pan out and I have to bench him, I'm doing it. Like, as a head coach, you have got to maintain control of your team. Because we talk about it all the time, Rob. If the players see this guy is not good, see the backup is much better, and you're sticking with this guy, you'll lose your team.
100%.
Because they're all not getting $600,000.
No, and the players know who belongs out there, Chris. We talk about it all the time. You can't fool the players.
Right.
You'll
know. Lose your team. And you made a good point. Like, at the end of the day, your job's on the line as a head coach.
Quit, you can't be in there like, oh, no, I got to play this kid. We gave him $1 million. What? And we're now 0-5?
Right.
You know how quickly the alumni will turn on you, Chris, as a head football coach?
No question. And you're right. Like, at the end of the day, these guys that give all this money, these alums, I mean, they got money to burn.
Right.
All right. And so
and you think they want to go to the games, Chris?
Win.
You think they want to go to the games and the suites and all that and spend money and have a bad program? No.
Right. And if you're winning, if you bench the high price guy and you're winning because you benched him, they're going to be fine. And so I do see the pressure that it could put on coaches, but you have to coach your team because your job, your career is on the line. And so you better maintain control of that team.